Hello and welcome to Mission Nonprofit. I'm your host, Robert Kam. On Mission Nonprofit, we feature a local nonprofit organization from the Thurston County area. And this month, we have Mpowerment Olympia. And with me to talk about Mpowerment Olympia is Justin Taylor, the program director for that organization. And just based on the title, Mpowerment Olympia, I don't think anybody knows what Mpowerment Olympia does.
Yeah, so Empowerment Olympia is a community-based program that seeks to empower young gay, bisexual men to really take action in their community and solve relevant issues. There's a focus on HIV and AIDS. They go out as kind of peer educators and ensure that people are able to take their health decisions, take charge of that, and ensure that they're making the right decisions and have the education to do so.
And it's fitting that we have you on the show because recently we just had a initiative passed allowing gays and lesbians to marry.
Yeah, and that was a huge success for our state and I think for equality. There's a lot more things to really tackle still. I mean, I think a lot of times we look at gay marriage as kind of, you know, the end game. But now that that's passed, I think we really got to start looking at our community and figuring out how we can start solving a lot of the other issues that are very relevant to us.
Involving gays and lesbian men? Gay and bisexual men? Is that what you're talking about?
I would say the wider LGBTQ community.
Okay.
I mean, there's a huge disproportionate amount of homeless LGBTQ folks. HIV and AIDS is still a huge concern for our community. It's an issue for the wider community, but it does disproportionately affect gay and bisexual men, the trans community, and other different sections and cross-sections of our community, unfortunately, still.
Mm-hmm. And there's kind of still a lot of prejudice, you know. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, when African Americans were given freedom and we still had, you know, the segregation and stuff like that. We probably still have a little bit of that to go through.
Oh, absolutely.
Is actually where it should be.
Yeah, and luckily Washington State, it's one of the states that does have an anti-discrimination policy, and I believe that went into effect in 2007 with some wonderful work from our legislators and community. But it still happens. I work with young men every single day, and you know, they face a lot on a daily basis. And what is nice, I'm seeing younger men come out at earlier ages in high school. But you know, bullying is still an issue too, and part of the reason why I think there's such a homeless issue in the LGBTQ community is when kids come out, a lot of times their parents push them out of the house, along with a lot of other different issues they're dealing with. But I think that's one of the main reasons. And
so for these high school students that get kicked out of their house, they can come to you and your organization for just support, for friends. Correct?
Yeah, we have drop-in hours every single week where we make the community space available for gay and bisexual men 18 to 29. What's wonderful about this space is we're not the only people that utilize it. We do have a set hour period during the week, but this community space is actually open for free to a whole host of different LGBTQ nonprofits that are tailored towards different groups, either support groups or action teams, or different kind of fundraising events and things, which are wonderful. Empowerment doesn't necessarily work as a support group. It's really about empowering young men and mobilizing them to really go out and interface with the community and take leadership roles in the community.
Okay. So let's mention your website right now, which is empoweroly.org. And I went to empoweroly.org, and the very first thing was an ad, I guess, that said beach stroke. And is that a paid advertisement from the Urban Onion? Is that what that is?
Well, the Urban Onion has been one of the most gracious bars in town, Ginny Shaw, and also I do want to give a shout out to Rob Cameron, which has been a huge supporter in the LGBTQ community as well. Empowerment co-sponsors the event called Beach Stroke, which is a LGBTQ dance party that is a safe place once a month for the LGBTQ community to dance and have fun. An empowerment sponsorship part is condoms and lube and ensuring that testing materials and things like that are made available so people know where to go in the community to get tested. The funds also go to support the fight against HIV and AIDS at that event every single month, which is fantastic.
And is there a specific day of the week every month that's held? When does it happen?
Currently, it's the second Saturday of every month.
Second Saturday. Okay, second Saturday night.
Correct.
At night? Okay.
Starting at 10 o'clock.
Uh-huh. All right. And then you also have a weekly meetup. I noticed that on your website on Tuesdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, and so that's the volunteer meetings. And so typically that's 10 to 15 guys that come together and they say, you know, what sort of event we want to plan, what sort of educational outreach event, you know, when are we going to go out and organize to go out to the bars and hand out materials or condoms, and how are we going to get more people in to get tested. You know, a big push is really ensuring that the community knows that we're a resource for HIV testing. Unfortunately, one of the few places in Olympia where somebody can come in and get tested at no cost.
And let's talk about that now. Let's talk about, so Fridays, every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday from 12 to 5, anybody can go in there.
We do have a pre-screening form to ensure that there is a need for an HIV test, that you do fit our requirement for a no-cost test. But if you're at risk, we will test you.
Okay.
And what's wonderful is we don't take blood. So you get your test results in 20 minutes. It's an oral swab, and the tests are highly accurate and at no cost. So you can't beat that.
It's free. All right. So if anybody were out there worried, then they can go there every Friday.
Every Friday, 12 to 5. We do ask for people to call so we don't get backed up and to actually schedule an appointment. But yes, 12 to 5 on Fridays.
And you go to your website to get your phone number? Or
they can call into the office, or they can go to the website, and actually we can do it through email, so we don't have to call you. We try and be as confidential as possible.
What is the phone number? Maybe we should just go ahead and
Oh,
tell
absolutely.
everybody the phone number.
360-352-2375. That's our direct office number.
352-2375? All right. Okay, and then so let's talk about some of the other things you guys have. What is the Thursday? You have something every Thursday?
Yeah, so every Thursday between 4 and 8 p.m., those are drop-in hours. So gay and bisexual men between the ages of 18 and 29 can come, hang out, meet each other. Typically there's video games set up, board games. They watch TV shows. And the space is just open, like a community center for men to come in and socialize and hang out.
So if they want to volunteer, that's Tuesdays from 6 to 8. If they want to socialize, 4 to 8 on Thursdays, and if they want to be tested, Fridays,
12 to 5.
All right.
Absolutely.
And all that's on your website, empoweroly.org.
Yes, empoweroly.org.
Okay. So you have, I wrote down dance party. That's the beat stroke.
Yeah.
The beat stroke. Okay. So they got the dance parties at the Urban Onion, which sounds fun. And so let's talk about how this organization got started. Did you start it yourself?
No, I was brought on about 4 years ago to take over program operations. I want to say it started in Olympia in 2001, and then United Communities AIDS Network took over from the health department when it was first initially launched. It's based on a national model, though. One of the few empirically tested, I would say data-driven models that looks at HIV prevention in the young gay and bisexual men's population. That's approved by the CDC and actually implemented into 60-plus cities across the United States. And so we're just one of the few that is implementing it here.
Now, there may be gay and bisexual men out there that are not out. They haven't come out. Now, what do you do as far as their confidentiality? Is it safe for them to go to these events, or what about confidentiality? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, when you're looking at the volunteers, a lot of them are out and open because they're kind of the representatives of the organization, which is a gay affiliate organization. The drop-in hours are fairly confidential. It's really an open community space, so it's entirely up to somebody's comfort level. Now, when it comes to resources, direct resources that we offer, like HIV testing, or if somebody wants to come in and pick up some condoms or lube at no cost, those are highly confidential.
Is that any time they can do that? Or well, is it
Fridays between
the
12 to
testing,
5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's both for the testing and the condoms and the lubes is Fridays from 12 to
And they
5.
can come and pick up too, even if they're not coming for a test, absolutely.
And so that's confidential.
Yes.
And then, but you know, if they're signing up to volunteer, that's probably going to be maybe not up their alley if they want
Correct. Yeah, and if they want to come in and they want to speak with staff, that's definitely confidential. They can do that. But a lot of the events that the volunteers plan, like dance parties, they're gay dance parties. So, I mean, if you're going to a gay dance party, it can only be so confidential.
Yeah, well, you're out in the, yeah, gotcha. Well, I did see a great video on your website that I wanted to share with our viewing audience.
Oh.
So I wanted to go ahead and roll that video. And so let's go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Empowerment is completely revolutionizing the way that gay and bisexual men interact in our community.
Empowerment is extremely important. It's one of the epicenters of our community. As gay men, we know that empowerment is looking out for us and has a space for us to be and to nurture our relationships with each other.
I feel the community does need a place for young gay, bi, queer men because we don't have a lot of places to hang out.
I knew what I wanted. I wanted a space where I could be with queer men who both supported and challenged me. I wanted a space outside of the hookup and grinder culture.
Before Empowerment, I really didn't even know any other gay people.
I felt welcomed, met lots of new and interesting people, and it was really fun.
They're just really positive, really important parts of my life, these friendships, and if it wasn't for Empowerment, I wouldn't have them.
I wanted connections that were deeper than just those momentary, fleeting meetings or those one-night stands. I wanted to develop friendships with queer men.
I just love the guys. I love the guys. I love hanging out with them, love talking to them. They're a bunch of great people just to, chill with.
So I am the social media intern at Empowerment.
My role for Empowerment is an outreach lead.
We have just started revamping our hookup, which is used to be our newscast, but now it's basically a whole new platform. It's a channel where all gay men in the area and beyond can get involved.
Go out to the bars or any other events that are gay focused and pass out condoms and test referrals.
They can submit scripts, they can decide to be stars of a segment at any capacity that people want to get involved in this video series. They can, and we make that happen for them.
And they all have something to offer, and they all have something to say. They all have a voice.
My favorite event this year so far was the Gallery. I do origami.
The gay bowling that we had, that was really fun. Even though I can't bowl, but it was fun.
The drop-in hours of just coming, hanging out, talking, watching random movies, playing random video games, playing apples to apples, whatever we feel like doing that particular day.
Whether it's from doing a queer prom or doing a little get-together, spring fever, or showing up and being a presence at Pride.
It's just guys coming together to hang out.
As soon as I walk through the door, I love the work that Empowerment does. I love the people that are involved. I just love Empowerment.
We have a presence at almost every event. People know who we are. We're a resource for other communities. We're a resource for other organizations. And I think that presence is really important. And Empowerment's done a lot of work for the community, and the community, I think, benefits directly from Empowerment.
This year, Empowerment's gonna be bigger and better than ever. We have so many events planned, so many projects we're working on. We're doing everything this year. We're doing videos, we're making calendars, we are putting on dance parties, you name it, we're doing it.
I'm empowered.
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 How will you get empowered?
Welcome back to Mission Nonprofit. I'm Robert Cam, and with me today is Justin Taylor, if you're just joining us, and he is with Empowerment Olympia. And Justin was just telling us about Empowerment Olympia and how it is there for gay and bisexual men from 18 to 29. It's also a place where you can go get HIV testing for no charge. Let's talk a little bit about HIV/AIDS and where it stands today. You know, people have had different expectations of, or visions of what the AIDS epidemic is like. Can you explain to us what it's like now in 2013?
Yes. Unfortunately, well, the reason why I got involved initially was when I came out as a gay man, I always knew that HIV and AIDS was relevant, and I was never quite sure why. I just knew that it was something I had to be concerned about. And so, understanding my own ignorance, I went out and tried to educate myself and realized that it still impacts our community disproportionately over any other community right now.
You mean the gay community, gay men? Is that what you're talking about?
Gay and bisexual men, the trans community, and you start looking at the different breakdowns of race, and like in the black community, it's very high, in the Hispanic community, all these different communities that suffer from oppression still in 2013. What's startling is that overwhelmingly, 3 out of 4 new infections in Washington state are gay and bisexual men, which for me is absolutely unacceptable, and it's the reason why I come into work every single day.
And so your mission is to get them tested, make sure they're not spreading it. What is the life expectancy nowadays of somebody with HIV and AIDS?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint because there's a lot of variables. Luckily, the medications that have been coming out in the recent years are very effective. But there's different strains of the virus that have different immunities to different medications. The medications react in people's bodies differently depending on the strain of virus and depending on the person, which could lead to side effects, long-term side effects. But luckily, it's not a death sentence anymore. And so that's also a good thing. I think when you're looking at the younger generation and my generation, there's a lot less focus. I think we always look at AIDS in Africa is the big kind of national trend I'm seeing. But HIV and AIDS is still here in our community. HIV and AIDS is still affecting 16, 17, 18-year-olds who don't have the education and the proper information to take charge of their own health decisions. And that's where empowerment comes in. And we focus on gay and bisexual men 18 to 29, but all our services, our condoms, our testing, our education, that we go out into the community, we may be using gay and bisexual men as the catalyst, but the information they're putting out there is reaching a very wide audience and a very wide demographic that I think impacts, not even the LGBTQ community, but we have a positive impact on the entire community of Olympia.
And you get a state grant, correct? Is it a
contract?
Grant? A contract, okay. And that contract is for HIV testing, correct? Is that...
HIV testing and empowerment, because empowerment works as an early intervention, HIV intervention program.
Okay, so it's an HIV intervention program, and they give you a contract for doing that. But that contract is running out.
Yes, so come July 1st, there will be no longer a contract to do empowerment any longer. There will not be HIV testing services, to my knowledge, and this doesn't just impact us. This will also have a potential impact for our local syringe exchange and ensuring they have clean needles as well. And so it's a big push right now. We're really looking at trying to get the community behind us and start supporting these programs because that's the only way we're going to have a foundation that's going to last where we can really deal with the HIV/AIDS epidemic in our community. And as a state, is if we come together as individuals and are willing to make a Netflix worthy donation of $8-10 a month. You do that for Netflix. Do it to save a life.
Yeah.
Do it to change a young man's life, to keep a community center open, to make sure that there's an HIV test when someone needs one. I think that's worth $10, $15 a month.
So we need the people out there watching to go to your website, empoweroly.org, and click on a donate button or some kind. You have a donate button?
Yeah,
how
and
do
all
people donate?
donations are done electronically. They're secure. If somebody wants to come in and do a check, we also take that. But what's great about our website is not only is it highly secure for donations through our third-party affiliate, but people can make monthly pledges. And so if you want to say, I want to make a $25 donation every single month at this time, for a year, you could do that. And that'll ensure that long-term, we can see our operating budget and ensure that we have the funds to continue forward. And that's honestly the best way to do it.
And you have some other plans, though, for raising some money, because this is going to happen soon, July 1st, but you have a gala in the works to raise money. That's a fundraiser.
Yes, and so we're going to have a large event towards the end of May,
Okay.
and I think we're still setting the date.
All right.
But hopefully we can raise a few $1,000s to upwards of $10,000+ to ensure that our doors stay open, to ensure that we can still afford HIV testing, that we have condoms to hand out, that we can still do the education components that are part of the program. And so that'll be a formal entire event, and we will feed people and have an auction, and hopefully people can come out and enjoy themselves and also really feel like they're making a difference in the community, because every single dollar, I mean, we're very thrifty. Every single dollar we get gets put into good use. It doesn't disappear into sometimes that nonprofit industrial complex where you don't see the benefit of your donation. Every single dollar we get, it's put to good use.
I could say the same thing about TCTV. We're also a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah. And I ensure that my membership is always renewed through
There
TCTV.
you go, and you are a member, and we thank you for that.
And I love the services that TCTV does, so absolutely.
So have you done one of these galas before? This gala you're planning at the end of May? Has Mpowerment done one before?
No, Mpowerment hasn't. And so with the young men at Mpowerment and also our board, and the real push right now is from a newly formed board, about a year and a half old, and it's from people in the community who really volunteer their time and understand the great need to keep these essential HIV prevention services in Thurston County. And so they've come together and they said, hey, let's put together a formal event, let's raise some money so that we can keep these programs going.
Do you think people will have to go up to Tacoma to get free HIV testing after July? I mean, if you can't continue on, if Mpowerment was gone.
I would hope they would go to Tacoma and get tested still, because the health department in Tacoma would be a resource for them, or our larger agency, Pierce County AIDS Foundation. But the truth is there's a lot of people who, if there's no testing here and it's not accessible, they may not even be able to travel up to Tacoma.
It's true, yeah.
And so mobility and access is a huge component of this, because we don't just serve people in Thurston County. We serve people out in Aberdeen. We serve people in Lewis and Mason County that come to us to get tested. But it would be quite a drive or a bus trip to make it to Tacoma.
Yeah. Let's talk about some affiliations that you might have. You have affiliations with other nonprofits, other organizations?
Yeah, so Mpowerment Olympia is a program. It's not its own 501c3. We're part of a larger organization called Pierce County AIDS Foundation, which is located in Tacoma. They took over services, both case management services for people living with HIV and AIDS here in Thurston County, and they also took over prevention services, which is the wing of the local office that I handle. And so they merged with, a lot of people know United Communities AIDS Network, UCAN. They merged with them last year.
So is UCAN still around here?
The UCAN board has dissolved, and PCAF has taken over all services that UCAN previously did.
Okay, and that's the Pierce County AIDS Network that you were talking about? Is it
Foundation, yes, correct.
Okay, foundation, right on. Okay, what about like PFLAG and those other GLBTQ? Is it GLBTQ? Is that what you're saying?
LGBTQ.
LGBTQ is the correct. Okay.
Is correct. Yes.
LGBTQ. I've got to get that down. Well, that's new. That just changed.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the most correct. I mean it goes through phases right now. Yeah, LGBTQ. Right now, I mean with Mpowerment, we work with a ton of different organizations. Many organizations utilize our community space, which will be going through a rebranding phase here pretty soon, so we can actually have a name for that space that people are already utilizing. Any given year, we have 10 different LGBTQ groups that utilize the space at no cost, and that's a service that we just provide. which used to be the Empowerment project space, and now we're really looking at expanding it and seeing, how can we market and brand this as a community center, because it's being used right now as a community center.
And this is basically your office, right? The Empowerment office that we're talking about?
The project space, yes.
Project space, and where is that?
That's downtown, 317 4th Avenue East. It's centrally located on 4th Ave, actually right next to Jake's on 4th.
Okay.
Which
is
is
it up the stairs there? Do you have to go up some stairs, or?
Yeah, and so it's a fairly confidential space, and so once you find it, you'll see our logo outside, and you'll dial up. We're on the 4th floor.
Okay.
And if you come in like during drop-in hours, let's say, all you have to do is dial up and come on into the community space, and we'll buzz you in.
Well, there you go. That's easy to find.
Yeah. Try to make it as easy as possible.
We have a few minutes left, but is there anything else you wanted to discuss with our viewing audience right now?
I would say that this is a crossroads right now. The community, we're really asking the community to step up and support essential HIV prevention services. This is kind of it. If we can't survive come July 1st, we may never see these services back again in Olympia. No-cost HIV testing, condoms being available at absolutely no cost, outreach and education that's happening in the community. Having a place that's safe and it's confidential to come in and for all these groups to meet, I think we've been taking it for granted the last couple of years, but this could all potentially go away. Mm-hmm. And so, all we're asking is for people to understand the great need there is, because I would hate to say in 5 or 10 years that we'd see another spike because we let these services drop in the area. Prevention services work, they're cost effective for the state. Our budget is fairly meager for all the work that's done, and it's really volunteer driven for the most part.
Yeah.
You're looking at one staff position, and you're looking at
volunteers.
Hundreds of HIV tests that are given out every single year for free.
Yeah.
You're looking at tens of thousands of condoms that are going out to the community every single year at no cost, and a large volunteer base. But there has to be some administrative costs there. There has to be rent money. There has to be utilities and kind of the bare essentials to keep this going. HIV tests cost money. And so that's what we're asking right now for the community. These services are vital. I believe that, we need to keep them going at any cost. And so, that's kind of what we're asking the community.
All right. Well, so we've got to wrap it up here, but I'll urge everybody to go to the website, empoweroly.org, and see what you can do. If you're interested in the services, take a look at that website. If you're interested in helping out the organization, then please donate. So until next month, I'm Robert Kam. Thanks for watching. If you know of a local nonprofit that's making a difference in our community, give us a call at 956-3100 extension 103 or send an email to rkam@tctv.net.